Stunticons, unite! Behold, Menasor!
Hello everyone, Motorprime here. Motorprime this. So today I will be showcasing something that I think a lot of you have been anticipating for, which is my take on a pretty cool looking Menasor, or pro self-claim cool looking. This is my Menasor, my take on Menasor. If you knew anything about the Menasor from Combiner Wars, is that he is not a very good looking thing. So this custom here took me about maybe 3 to 4 months to actually finish it, and at this point I would say it's about maybe 80 to 90% finished, even 100 to an extent. I would even put it as, because practically this is perfect. I will show you his full combined mode with all the other limbs. I will showcase everything later on, but I think what you all want to see first is probably the main torso. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the finer details that I've used to make the whole torso piece. So bringing him for a closer look, let's start out from the top. So I used the surprisingly, when I bought my Menasor, I actually bought Menasor in a full set for a very cheap price. But surprisingly, the person that was selling it had the perfect effect head, but shockingly did not include. But he was only selling it with the head, but without the whole. If you knew anything about the perfect effect upgrade set, was that the Menasor set came with the head and a torso like a torso lock piece that helped him stand a bit more securely, like taller securely, I think. But it didn't came with the whole torso piece. It only came with the headset and the rest of the Stunticons sets. So let's go through. Obviously, I use the head. So on the whole, if you can tell, this is a Power of the Prime Inferno / Combiner War hotspot mode. You can probably tell by this whole kind of gritty grid kind of chest piece. So this is pretty much how it looks. It's basically a hotspot Inferno mold, but with a Menasor head. I've also, when I bought the Menasor Stunticon set, it also came with Blackjack included, and I decided to also take that extra step by not just making him look fully G1, but also making him look just a little bit of resembling the G1 toy aesthetic. So because if I remember correctly, I will probably put up an image somewhere along the video. The G1 Menasor, the toy, had a little roller car that you just pluck onto his chest, and it makes Menasor's so-called chest. So I thought that's a very nice idea, and I thought I have Blackjack, so I'll just do that. What I did was pretty much I just drilled a little. I used my pin visor, and then I drill a little hole on one of his thighs area, and it just pegged on it. And I'll show you later. I'll maybe just grab my hotspot, and I'll show you what I meant. Okay, so here is the Fensor, or more specifically my hotspot. So basically, if you know anything about this little peg here, this was originally supposed to be for a legend scale groove to plug on to his chest, because in the Combiner Wars they gave a new member Rook as one of the limbs, and then Groove the motorbike became the chest piece instead. I utilize and the Inferno actually because this is the Inferno color molding, and because they're they're the exact copy, the peg remains on the Inferno. So what I did was I utilized this little peg to plug Blackjack onto the chest. That is how I did. This is how I did the how I plugged the Blackjack here. And then of course I gave a little bit of a detailing on the front skirt here. I basically let me just grab my remaining Motormaster Menasor. So here is the remaining of the of my Motormaster. Let me just clip that chest piece back because I don't really like seeing the inside. So this is the remaining of my Motormaster, and as you can see, I pretty much use every. The only thing I took out was the head, and then I also took out this little skirt piece, and then I use putty with molding clay, and then just made an extra piece of that. I don't know where I put it, so I can't show it to you right now. But basically, I had this. I made an extra copy of this, and then once that is all dried up and solid, I just glued the piece like that. It's not the best job, probably. I could have sanded it down a little bit better, but it's something. I will also explain like how I came up with such an idea. When I bought this Menasor set, I was kind of happy, but at the same time I wasn't very happy with it, because the Combiner War Menasor is just not very. It's not a very good looker combined mode, and even with the whole so-called fan mode, or like even without the perfect effect upgrade set, and with just maybe because there are people saying that you can just maybe not do this style and do maybe like this style and make it a bit more lengthier leg, but the problem was that because if you do this, it'll be way more taller than all your other Combiner Wars combiners. So one day I decided to go on to I think TFW, and then I saw someone who actually used a hotspot mode and made a Menasor, and basically that's how I did that's where I got the inspiration idea from. I will include all the details. I will include that link reference in the description, so you can check it out and see how he did his. And finally, a little bit of an extra detail is that you can tell I just randomly plugged on the remaining exhaust and blade pipes that Dragstrip and some of the other Stunticons had. I didn't want to just throw them in a bag and put them in storage, so I thought it would be fun to just see where I can plug them randomly, and it does give him a pretty good looking looker, I guess. So I guess let's move on to the other limbs and the combined modes. So here is the rest of the loadout. Now before I move on with anything, I will say that I bought the Stunticon set that only has off-road, and at this point I don't really mind having off-road as part of the team, because I do like him, and I think he's a very nice I think he has a very cool looking alt mode, this kind of off-road truck, and at the same time, it's like Wild Rider is his kind of gray car with red window tint and all that. And this one can, while it is not a race car, it's a truck, it's still a kind of a gray with red window car. So at the end of the day, I'm very happy with this one, and honestly, I'm not gonna go on Amazon or any scalper and buy and pay like an extra buck, like high prices for just Wild Riders' Combiner War mold. I managed to buy myself some Perfect Effect hands. I think these are some of the knockoff ones, but I can't be sure because when I bought it, they just came in a clear bag. Yeah, I bought the black version. Specifically, I bought the black version because it was the only one that the person selling has, and they were probably like the cheapest ones I could buy because for some goddamn reason, the guy I was buying from, he was selling, he had, I think, gray and white, and they were like a lot more, they were like a bit more pricier. I only pay like 58 Hong Kong dollars, which is like about maybe I think about 5 USD, like for the hands and feet set. I bought the black ones, and basically what I did was I just used an airbrush and painted in purple. I will showcase what color I used later on, but first of all is show you the hands and feet of these. These are the more fattier kind of like old gear fig because there's two types. There's a slender kind of trapezium type, and then there's this kind of like fatty lengthy type. So here is the rest of the Stunticons. We have Dead End, Dragstrip, and Breakdown. Yeah, Breakdown. I almost forgot. And here is the sword. Simply to put, this is just the Menasor Motormaster's sword. But if you knew Blackjack, it came with this little wing piece that originally was supposed to stick on his chest, but I didn't really care for that. So, and I really want to give this sword a bit of a length. So all I did was I used my pin visor, drilled a little hole down here, and just connect a metal rod between here to here, and then it kind of lengthens the sword a bit more. Honestly, while I am happy with the result, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of this. I don't hate it. I do like the sword. However, if I do have the opportunity, I probably would like to get a 3D printed piece of the more G1-ish, kind of like European gladiator sword style sword for Menasor, for my Combiner Wars Menasor, but for the time being, this will do, and I am very, very happy with it. So before we move on to the fully combined mode, allow me to show you the paints and color I use. Okay, now on to the painting segment. Painting, the colors I've used is very, very simple this time because it's Menasor. He's primarily black, gray, and purple. So basically, pretty much, I just painted the whole thing with black surfacer. It's a very good black surfacer, so yeah. And then the 5 parts for Menasors here, the 5 parts, I've used this sort of, I use this. It says Titan's blue. It says blue, but it's actually more of but it's just purely just like dark gray. And I thought it looks very nice on him. And then obviously the purple parts, I pretty much just use Mr. Colors' 67 purple. And for any of you who are curious, I done all of this on airbrushed, and then the finer details are hand painted with a fine fin brushed, which I just painted on, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, those are the colors. So let's move on to the final segment, which is the combined Menasor. And he is done. This is my Menasor. So, looks wise, it's very bulky and robust. It looks very cool. And gonna give you a little quick 360 spin to give it a look. So basically, he looks very nice, and with the whole perfect effect head, it does give him a much more bigger head, because if I gave him the Combiners Wars head, it looks, in my opinion, it does feel a bit very dinky on such a big giant body of his. Though I do think it fits, it could fit this kind of body, but given that when I bought my Menasor, it came with the perfect effect heads. This was the one I stick with. Let me just position him properly. Right now, I have him in this kind of like proud, kind of holding his sword kind of pose. Honestly, if there's one thing I would probably, it's not really a down point, just more of a nitpick, is that I kind of wish that perfect effect would have given us faces. Not exactly saying that like he needs like face changing gimmicks and whatever, but it is kind of if you think about it, it's like everyone has this kind of like normal looking, like plain looking expression, and the Menasor having this kind of like girl looking face. But it's just a nitpick. I do like it, and that's it. Another nitpick, of course, is I would say is a Dragstrip. Honestly, I think a lot of people have said it, but the Combiner Wars Dragstrip is a bit of an oddball, because while yes, he has his so-called like yellow paint job, it feels like the whole maroon red, kind of like darkish red thing all over him is a bit of a over excessive thing. I mean, if you look at something like the Unite Warriors one, they practically just gave Dragstrip a full yellow caramel, and then maybe just the head and the front part here red, and then everything else is just plain yellow, like the plastic or the paint job or whatever. So without further ado, let's move on to let's compare him with some of the other Combiners and some of the other Autobots and Decepticons. So here is the mighty Menasor standing next to my Defensor. It's a very cool looking Defensor. Here he is next to Brute. See, I'm currently working on Bruticus, and unfortunately the rest of his limb has not arrived yet. But I am working on him, but for the time being I had Sunstreaker and Ironhide just be his legs. So look forward to that, I suppose. Yeah, so here next to my Combiner Wars work in progress. Oh, Bruticus. It's fine. Here he is next to his leader, Megatron. This is a Siege Megatron. Don't worry, this is a Siege Megatron, a custom build. I might do a video on him if you guys want to. Just if you like to, then leave a comment and I might just do it. Yeah, here he is next to Megatron, and you can probably get for those of you who do not have the any of the Combiner Wars Combiner and are kind of in doubt in whether the size is, right now we can have this as a look. This is pretty much how it looks from top to bottom. Basically, let's use Megatron. He stands near to his crotch area, like his waist and crotch area. So here he is with Megatron, and then lastly, let's just include him. Motormasters is one arch rivalry menace thing. Optimus, Earthrise Optimus. This is an Earthrise Optimus. I've also done a custom paint job on him. again, I have a lot of ideas for custom showcasing some of my customs. So if there's anyone that you particularly want to see, kind of just leave it down in the comments, or just tell tell me what you want to see next. So here he is next to Optimus Prime. I do not have Superion, unfortunately, because Superion, unfortunately, is probably one of the hardest combiners to actually hunt for. I might buy the knockoff full set one. I've seen somewhere, but some of the stores I've looked so far are currently quite pricey. So there you have my take on a Combiner Wars Menasor, and honestly, I'm very happy with it. Honestly, oh, and I forgot to mention and to showcase. Before I bought the Perfect Effects hands and feet, his feet at the time were actually these feet. I only found one of them because I kind of just stored them in a box and I couldn't find the other feet. This was the feet I used before I found someone was selling the Perfect Effects hands, and these were the feet. Basically, what I did was my initial plan originally was to just use the Combiner Wars' like hand feet piece, and then what I did was I just combined it with the Siege Leader class shockwaves, is like this specific little pieces here. It did give him a bit of a height, and it does look okay on him. So it's fine. All I did was just pretty much I just used my pin visor and my screwdriver, my larger screwdrivers, and I just drilled a hole here, and then it just snug fits it like so. So yeah, this could be a very fun idea for those who probably cannot get their hands on the Perfect Effects hands and feet. This could be a very nice solution to Menosaurus's feet if you think it looks good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys like my take on Menasor, and hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.